What's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Popcorn People Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we have a fun one for you guys as it is an award season. So we're going to have like an award season movie review roundup where we're going to talk about all the movies that we have been watching over the last few weeks. It is plentiful. As always, I'm joined by my partner in crime here, Mr. Dom Fisher. How are you today, buddy?
Man, I'm good, man. We on this, this little Thanksgiving break. We kicked it with the fam, gained a little weight, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man, it's been good. My knee a little fucked up, but other than that, I'm out here living. You feel me?
Getting old is a bitch.
This some
man.
bullshit.
It is, man. It is, man. We got a fun one, man. It's pretty great. This time of the year, it's whether it's in theaters or whether they're coming in our mail. Being part of Critics' Choice has really been fruitful for us, so we're able to catch up and watch all of the things as they come through. Obviously, this past week on Monday, we saw The Color Purple. We can't say a whole lot about it quite yet, other than a little brief social media review reaction, which I gave out. But really, really good. Can't wait to be able to talk about that film. I know Dom can't either. We talked about it a few minutes after the movie, but yeah. That being said, just a Russian roulette here. Just a Russian roulette of movies. We're going to go back and forth. There's some movies that we both have seen. There's some movies that only one of us have seen. So we'll just kind of go back and forth. And let's go ahead and dive into some movie reviews. All right. Dom, let's kick it off with a movie that we both have seen. Okay? Let's kick it off with a movie we both have seen. Let's talk about the Netflix movie May December. 20 years after the notorious tabloid romance, a married couple buckle under the pressure when a Hollywood actress meets them to do research for a film about their past. The film stars Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, Charles Melton, and it comes from director Todd Haynes. Now, this has been one of the most hyped, one of the most talked about, just critically, applauded films in this space, whether throughout all of its debuts across the board. Dom, I'm going to let you kick us off because I've got some feelings, and I think we both are on the same page here. So, what do you got for me, my man?
Yeah, man. This, there's been screenings. We get films sent to a section of our account sometimes that we can't make screenings. We're able to watch it at home. And this movie was one that was very highly hyped. I had multiple people tweets and people had asked me if I seen it. Like, man, it's so great. Da, da. And then I watched it and I was like, I'm ready to get on this hype train. And then the train came and I was like, nah, I'll let it pass. Because I did not feel this movie the way that everybody else did. And I don't think it was a result of it being overly hyped. I just think it was the movie wasn't what people say it is. And the biggest word that I saw from this film was camp or campy. And the one thing that I don't like about that is because when a movie is normally considered camp, a general audience will clearly be able to see this and be able to go along with it. Kind of like White Noise, right? Last year's White Noise. But this one, it was taking itself more seriously than it was supposed to be, apparently. I kept waiting for something to happen that never happened. Now I get it's a fictionalized version of a real story. And Natalie Portman, she's great. Julianne Moore, she's great. Outside of that, I'm like, what? I didn't feel anything. It wasn't hilarious to me. There was, it had its moments that was like, oh, that's over the top. Like the music, of a certain scene is like, oh, that's that's so exaggerated. And there's a couple lines here and there. They're like, oh, yeah, that's great. But I didn't, I'm seeing 4 and 5 stars for this. And I just can't say that I felt the same way. And this is something I was looking forward to because so many people were talking about it. And I did have a balance. I did have people saying like, oh, it's not that great. So I didn't go in like, oh, this is going to be the best movie of the year. Because it's not. I'm sorry. This is, sometimes people miss, and this happens to be a miss. I even started to watch it a second time to see if I missed something, and I was like, nope, I didn't. I didn't even finish it the second time. I'm just like, it's not a bad film. It's not, but it's not what people want it to be. It is not this super campy thing. It's camp light, okay? Camp light. And y'all thought it was, mega camp. It's not. It's just not great. It's a miss. I'm sorry. It is what it is. That's just how the cookie crumbles. What were your thoughts?
All right. What is a camp movie? Camp movies draw on an exaggeration and excess, typically undermining cinematic qualities deemed highbrow and revealing outrageous and silliness and theatricality. What about this movie had any of that related to it? Another definition: describe something that has ridiculous and wacky appeal. I'm listening. I don't understand. Okay. I watched this movie at home. I did. I mean, it's Netflix, so a lot of people will experience this the same way that we have. I didn't like it. I honestly, you said what I disagreed. The part of it's a good movie. I don't think it's a good movie. I just think that it's a movie. I can't even. Natalie Portman's great, but I expect it. I even think that she's very not great. I'd say she's very good in it. I do see all of this razzle dazzle about Charles Melton, and to me, this performance is not good. Like, it's just not a good performance. It's not an award-worthy performance. There's going to be critics group that award this for this performance. I'm going to be blown away by it because it's such a bad performance. It's not good. The story. It tries to be crafty and creative, I guess, and it's not there. It falls flat on every angle. There's a way that you shoot this film that I think is a lot better. This is a more serious version of That's My Boy. It's that. I go back and watch That's My Boy. That is a better use of this story in a fucking hilarious, campy way. You know what I mean? It's all it is. It's a serious version of That's My Boy, except you throw the think about it though. Okay, That's My Boy. His father comes to see him. They go to visit his mom and you have instead of that, you have somebody coming to visit them because they're playing the role of the person in the movie. Like, it's almost the same damn thing.
Yep.
It's not good. I didn't like it. So I'm going to say my piece about May December on this podcast. And I'm never going to talk about the movie ever again. I tweeted out something. Somebody tweeted out something. Can we be serious about the movie with months in it? May December. I had 3 people DM me. Oh my God, did you not like this movie? I didn't. End of conversation. Let's move on. But transitioning into the next movie we're going to talk about a movie that I think Dom liked. Actually, I have no clue how he felt about it because I haven't seen it, but I think that I know he has. Let's talk Good Burger 2. What a transition. Like, what?
Look, we already know what it is. Good Burger 2, years later. Yeah, the team, the dynamic duo of Keenan and Kel, Dexter and Ed, link back up and try to stop someone from trying to take over Good Burger again. The first movie it's an iconic movie. It's one that we've all seen multiple times. The one that we show our kids is like, hey, look at this piece of my childhood. And they end up liking it usually because of Ed. He's a lovable character. He always has like this kind of the idiot savant type of thing going on, where he's mad, goofy, kind of stupid, but then he does something so mind-blowingly genius. You're like, that came from him. Now, two, they I can't tell the time frame. They said 5 years ago at one point. They said 15 years ago at one point. I don't know. It don't really matter because they're back together. The vibe is the same, but the jokes just don't hit as hard as they do because the jokes didn't grow with the characters. The jokes stayed in the 90s. I chuckled a little bit, but the nostalgia factor didn't quite do it enough for me to be like, I'm gonna watch this again. I'm gonna, scream from the mountaintops about Good Burger 2 because it's just okay. The story is very similar. There's a lot of cameos because a lot of people loved it growing up. We love Keenan and Kel. But this movie's not great. It's a cool movie. They made it in a very short amount of time, so it's kind of understandable. There's a lot of things that don't quite make sense that you're gonna say, "Hey, what about this?" It don't matter because it's Good Burger. So yeah, it's the acting is what you expect. I mean, they're just having fun. It's kind of like an extended SNL skit almost, and the callbacks are cool. You see the car and the outfit, and they talk about the sauce, and we get mention of people from the first film. So it's a cool thing to see during the holiday season to get this blast from the past and new wrapping, especially if you go to Arby's and get you a Good Burger 2 meal to eat with the movie.
So but why the fuck was Arby's a
burger? I don't know. I don't know. I was confused about it too. And I had the meal and it's very mid. Okay. Arby's, they might have the meats, but they're not all good meats because their burgers are subpar. They need some seasoning in them. And like this movie needed. It needed a little more seasoning. It needed to be maybe a little bit longer because they wanted that quick boom pow, the stuff going on all the time. But yeah, I mean, it's fun for what it is, but I feel like it could have been better. It did, like I said, it didn't grow with us. It stayed the same age. The characters have the same flaws, and you would think they'd grow up a little bit, but they didn't. And that's okay if you just want a little fun movie, but I did want to see a little bit of maturity, a little progression, but we didn't get it. But by no means is it a terrible film, but it's not going to be one that you rewatch multiple times like the original.
Yeah, I have expectations to hopefully watch it soon, but it's not at the top of my list. I really wanted to watch it, but huge fan of the original, and I heard Pete Davidson's in it, so that's all that really matters to me. All right, another movie that I want to talk about. I know you haven't seen this one yet. It's another movie at the top of everybody's list this award season, and that's The Holdovers. Paul Giamatti and Divine Joy Randolph are starring in the film. A lot of great things are said about this film. And there's good in this film. Like, if you look back in time, and if you said this movie was made in 1982, I would believe you. And this is the type of movie that's heartwarming. It's about an instructor at a New England prep school remains on campus during Christmas break to babysit a handful of students with nowhere to go. He soon forms an unlikely bond with a brainy but damaged troublemaker and the school's head cook, a woman who just lost a son in the Vietnam War. Paul Giamatti plays that lead instructor. Paul Giamatti's very good in the film. He's got great banter with Dominic Sessa, who plays Angus. Divine Joy Randolph is fantastic as Mary Lamb. the film is about 15, 20 minutes too long. We're clocking at about 2 out of 15. You feel it about the 145 mark. You feel like, all right, is this movie ever going to end? They add a couple extra plot things to try to, dramatize the story in a way that didn't need it. It's kind of a feel-goody. It's literally, if this movie came out in like 1995, it would have made like $1 bazillion. Like, it's that type of movie. For some reason, it's already coming out on digital on like the 28th. I do think that this will be at the top of people's like Christmas movie watch over a lengthy period of time. Heartwarming, charming. I think general audiences love it. I think it's just very fine. Like, it's a very paint by numbers film. Has some good performances in it. Divine Joy Randolph is a star. If you're not familiar with Divine Joy Randolph, then I'm sorry for you, because I think she's fantastic. Please go back and watch 2019's Dolomite Is My Name, one of my favorite films of that year. It is brilliant. Huge fan of that movie and huge fan of her in that movie. Holdovers, it's fine. I've seen a lot of 4.5, 5-star rankings. Is it that? No. But speak for yourself, watch for yourself. Let me know what you think of it, because I don't think it's an awards-worthy film. I do think it is a good film. Unlike the movie we started talking about at the beginning of the movie, or at the beginning of the show. That being said, all right, Dom, I do believe that you recently watched a Netflix animated movie that is out for everybody to see. I do believe that it has voiced by Adam Sandler and my favorite guy, Mr. Bill Burr. So what do you got for us, my guy?
Yeah, so Leo. Adam Sandler dives back into animation. And we all know Adam Sandler is a man of the people. He doesn't make films to win awards. He makes films for us to feel good. And I think when I initially watched this film, I had told Ricky my initial thoughts. And then I talked to a teacher friend of mine, and I decided, you know what, is the movie, as much as there's it gets to a point where, you know what, maybe some aspects of the film they become redundant, or it becomes a run-of-the-mill animated feature. It's necessary. This is a film that I feel is necessary. I even told this teacher friend of mine that, hey, this is a film that you should potentially show to your students, or that can the school show to other students, because this film, you have this class pet who, unbeknownst to the rest of the people in the school, can talk. And when a teacher gets pregnant, has to have a substitute take her place. The substitute implements new rules that the kids don't like, and they have to begin taking the classroom pets home on Friday. But no one wants to take the turtle. They decide, I'm going to take the lizard. And the lizard begins to help the kids with their very specific problems, because they're, I wish I could remember what grade they're in. But as kids growing up, we have these issues that we don't feel like we can tell anyone, not our parents, not our friends, because we feel like we're going through it alone. And then this iguana decides that, hey, I've been around since like the 60s. I can help these kids. I've seen things. I can help them with issues. And the story begins like that. Every weekend, a different kid, different problem. And then the substitute becomes the bad guy. The best friend becomes jealous. And things kind of start to play out in a predictable way. But, you know, as a film critic, those are things that I'm going to see is, okay, things got redundant. It was very predictable. You knew what was going to happen. But if I want to show them a good movie to a kid that's fun and that has a lesson in it, like when we grew up, where it's entertainment and a lesson, and it's so entertaining that you don't realize you're getting a lesson, this is one of those films I think that you should show your kids. And so I kind of told myself I refuse to really go in or bash this film, because I do think it's necessary. Because that is what the kids need. They need these positive affirmations in the form of things they watch. Some things are a little too hand-holdy when it comes to the things that they get to watch. Oh, they think it's a little too adult or it's too kiddie, and I think this is the perfect middle ground because for one kid, he is the class clown, and he has this going through this puberty thing, and really he has a baby voice and he's afraid of it to be himself. And he encourages him to, hey, what about the weekend? You hear his voice when he sings, it sounds high pitched. And he's like, oh, yeah, it is like that. Just giving kids that confidence that they need, that I think all kids could stand to use in these times of being on social media and literally hearing that everybody's not good enough. And that's not right. So I think this movie is worth watching with your kids. And it's also a message that we could all probably use now. But I mean, the animation is great. I mean, nowadays you'll be hard pressed to find a film that's done by a big company that the film or the animation isn't great. Now we're looking for, fantastic. We're looking for astronomical when we get to the Spider-Verses and things of that sort, or anything that DreamWorks is doing too. So the animation is good. The message is fantastic. And, Burr and Sandler, I wish there was a little more back and forth, but what we do get is funny. So, yeah, it's definitely one that I think that the family should sit down and watch.
I like that. I will watch it. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I don't think I'm excited to hear that though. I do think that you're right when you say there needs to be more of a camaraderie of films like that have good messages in them. We get lost in the shuffle. There needs to be more movies like that, especially for kids, in the world and the environment and the madness that goes around. There's so much negativity in the world that, to me, like, film has always been that safe space, even since I was a little kid. You know what I mean? Sure, did I find it in movies that maybe I shouldn't be watching?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. But it didn't matter because I was appreciating kind of that art of film in general. But speaking of a great movie, all right, very good movie, I'll say. I don't know if it's great. I've watched it twice. I really do like it. American Fiction. Monk is frustrated novelist who's fed up with the establishment that profits from a black entertainment that relies on tired and offensive tropes. To prove his point, he uses a pen name to write an outlandish black book of his own, a book that propels him to the heart of hypocrisy and the madness he claims to disdain. The film was written and directed by Cord Jefferson, stars Jeffrey Wright, Issa Rae, Sterling K. Brown, and Erica Alexandra. I watched this first back at AFI, and I really liked it. I watched it back this weekend, and it's funny because, like, the first time I watched it, I remember it being very funny, okay? And I told my wife, I was like, yeah, let's watch a funny movie. And then I realized upon my rewatch, there's a lot of sadness in the film that is kind of disguised as funny because of how the characters handle it, right? So, like, it's funny in that element, and I think the relatability on that of how people handle grief. Everybody handles grief differently. I felt like I related to how Jeffrey Wright's character Monk handled the tragedy that happened in his life in a very nonchalant way. Same with Sterling K. Brown, who plays his brother in the film Cliff. The overall tone of the film is definitely something that pulls back and forth in so many different elements. But to me, Sterling K. Brown gives a fantastic, outlandish, crazy performance in this. Following up Honk for Jesus Save Your Soul, which I felt like he gave a crazy, wild performance. This kind of falls in that same line of that kind of type of hokey performances, and I really enjoyed him as the brother. Does have some strong emotionally element moments in this as well, but I really, really like this film. I really like Jeffrey Wright's performance in it. I cannot wait for you to watch this film. I think you said you're seeing it tomorrow night.
Yep.
Love to dissect it and talk to you about it because there's a lot of undertone that I would love to chat about. So maybe we'll dive more deeper into this in the coming weeks. But I loved it. Comes out, I think, the 22nd of this year. Might be released sooner than that in the bigger markets, but American Fiction really, really, really dug that. So I think that's it for our round robin of movies. We talked about quite a few of them here. I'll just put my finishing touches. I finally watched Killers of the Flower Moon today, a film that I have been delayed on watching for quite a while. Just when I first went to go see it in theaters, I got COVID, and then it just kind of went back and forth. And then I got a lot of things happened. It was in and out of town. It is a little bit of a chore to go see it out in theaters because it has that long run time. You think in 30 minutes in the movie theater, 30 minutes back, you're talking about almost a 5-hour experience. That being said, I can officially tell everybody this is my review for Killers of the Flower Moon. I think it is highly underwhelming. It is overlong for absolutely no reason. I was looking down. I saw my clock at the hour and 15-minute mark, and I could not believe that there was still 2 hours and 15 minutes left. And then a little bit later, 2-hour mark hit. Oh my God, there's still an hour and a half left in this movie. It's overlong. I'm on board with saying that I don't understand the Lily Gladstone in the best actress. She should be in supporting. I do think she's good in it. I don't see her fitting into my 5 because I don't feel like it's a lead performance and there's not enough meat on the bone there for me to put her in my 5. If she gets in the 5, glorious, great representation in that category. Personally, not in mine. DiCaprio's fine. I've seen a lot of it's his best performance of his life, or best performance of his career, one of his best. I didn't think that. I think he's good in it. There's scenes where you see like, damn, DiCaprio, like, holy shit. De Niro, same boat. Thought De Niro was fine. Didn't love De Niro. Don't see De Niro in my 5. Like, there's a lot of different things that I saw. I don't think, in my opinion, if in my world of my ballot, it's not going to be in Best Picture. It's not going to be in Best Director. It's not going to be in Best Actor. It's not going to be in Best Actress. And it's not going to be in Best Supporting Actor or Screenplay. I love the costume design, the representation of the Osage County people. People was fantastic. I love that. I love the dresses. I love the costumes. It's just all there. The set design, the production design, love that. Like below the line, we're talking the score. I will say this: the score is fantastic. Really love the Osage Indian, I guess you could say, beats that they added with the score that kind of flow with the film. I really enjoyed that as well. But outside of that, hard pass on the film. But yeah, I know it's not. I know it's the little razzle dazzle. As somebody that loves Scorsese, as somebody that loves DiCaprio, very disappointed in that film. Very, very disappointed. So I don't know, man. I kind of was hoping to look for a little bit more, and I didn't get what I wanted. All right, what are we going to talk about? Okay, so let's do some watch recommendations. What do you have for me, watch recommendations wise?
Man, so I have been I've been going back and watching some of these older comedy. Usually when me and the wife sit down, or sometimes before bed or something, you want to put on like a light comedy, and we just rewatched. She saw for the first time. It was rewatched for me. Spy with Melissa McCarthy. My wife loves Melissa McCarthy, and it's a fun time. I mean, it's hard not to have a good time in her films because it's just this wacky, goofy time. Usually, unless you're watching like The Kitchen, where she's like, "What's good? I ain't playing no games." We talk about it in a later show, but I did see, along with Ricky, we saw Wonka. So whenever you get a chance to see it, all I'm gonna say is go see it. Yeah.
Got 2 recommendations for you. 1, Squid Game: The Challenge, the reality show on Netflix. 456 people are competing for $4.56 million. Every time somebody's eliminated, the pot goes up $10,000. First 5 episodes dropped last week. The next 4 drop this Wednesday. Final episode drops the week after that. Really enjoying it. I've actually caught a couple of the episodes that are set to come out this week. I'm actually reviewing them here on the YouTube channel if you want to check those out episode by episode. I'm really enjoying the show. Definitely hard in some aspects because on some of those challenge style shows, you find yourself gravitating towards rooting for somebody. But as you start rooting for somebody, they're eliminated because the eliminations aren't like your typical eliminations on that. Sometimes you get sometimes you volunteer to do something and then you get the option of voting somebody out of the thing without even like any strategy resulted to it. So it's really cool, having a lot of fun with that. On the flip side of that, I've got Silent Night. Silent Night comes out in theaters on Friday. John Woo directed, first American film since 2003, if I remember correctly, or 2006, one of those two. Stars Joel Kinnaman. Honestly, the film is dialogue free. No dialogue in the movie at all from like the second scene for the rest of the movie. Highly recommend it. Action packed, John Woo style action. There is a scene in the film that is just one of the best action scenes you'll see of 2023. I have an interview with Joel Kinnaman dropping on Thursday on this right here on the YouTube channel, along with my review. I think the embargo is the 27th, so I can't really talk too much about it. I'm just recommending that you go check it out in theaters starting this Friday. All right. That being said, we are kicking off well, it's not Christmas yet, but it is after Thanksgiving. But we are kicking off this upcoming month of Christmas with our top 3 Christmas movies. I will say I've had a jockey for position. There's Christmas movies that I love that are not going to make it on my list. Dom, what I'm going to give you the opportunity here for is I'm going to talk about a film or two that didn't make the top 3 that you really wish that were in your top 3.
Okay, I need to preface this with most people that know me as like the spooky guy, the demon guy, the unjolly guy. And I've seen Christmas movies. However, I didn't really start watching them until I got with my wife, until we moved in together, because she is a huge Christmas person. I was never that guy. However, there was 2 that didn't make my list that it was very difficult. One is This Christmas. It's almost like your quintessential Black Christmas movie that like it's just pure chaos, and it's Chris Brown and Lauren London and Columbus Short and I think like Loretta Devine. It's just a lot of big names that are very popular in Black households. And I actually did see this in theaters. There's a baby oil and a belt scene that's iconic, but it didn't make my list. Sorry. And then The Nightmare Before Christmas. It's one of the only Christmas films that always pops into my head immediately, but it's not one that I consistently watch every year.
That's 2 solid ones. I got 2 that are going to make my list. Home Alone is on my didn't make the cut list. Really love the film. I think the rewatchability is insane. The other one, it pains me to put this on not in my top 3, and that's Elf. So another one that's just a classic cult, great Christmas movie, but it's just not in my top 3. There's so many good Christmas movies that I feel terrible about leaving out, but there's just these 3 are just kind of my go-to that I love quite a bit. So, all right, Dom, hit me with your top 3 Christmas movies.
All right. And this, judge away. number
Make
3.
your own damn list.
Number 3, Bad Santa. I just need that rated R vulgarness for the holiday to combat all the bullshit cheer that I see. Number 2 is Santa Claus, Tim Allen's Santa Claus. That's one I always go back to. And then number 1 is probably, I haven't watched this movie every year since I was like, I don't know. I feel like I was like 9 or 10. Jingle All the Way. I love this, especially now as a father. Now it's a little different nowadays because we have Amazon and all these eBay and all these Etsy and all these things. But the dad who's busy and he's like, my kid I want that, connection back. I got to get this one thing. And the other dad's like, no, I got to get this one thing. And it reminds me of the whole Tickle Me Elmo debacle. It's just a fun time. This race against time to save and be the hero of Christmas. It never gets old to me. And I really miss Sinbad in films. Like, he was a big part of me growing up. And I'm just mad that we don't see him as much anymore because he was so good in films.
All right, so my number 3. Okay, so first off, Bad Santa is fantastic. Great choice. The Night Before. Love that movie. Like,
that's perfect. A good one.
Like, there is a Christmas stoner movie that if you didn't know existed, it exists. Of course, it stars Seth Rogen, him, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Anthony Mackie. I love that film to death. It's so good. The other one I'm going to mention is a movie that if you know me, you know how much I love this film. It's Last Christmas. Emilia Clarke and Henry Golding.
Just watched it.
It's literally so good. And I just love it. It's just
that ending fucking is crazy.
Insane. One of the craziest twists in any movie. Right?
Yep.
In any movie. It's crazy. It's wild. Yep. My number 1 is the same number 1 as Dom Fisher's Jingle All the Way. The best Christmas movie to ever exist. It's watchable now. It's watchable 10 years ago. Fun fact, 6 or 7 years ago, I had the opportunity to take my daughter to see it in theaters.
Oh, shit.
And I loved it. Please make this happen again. Maybe I'm going to call the Bell Court, and we're going to do a screening of Jingle All the Way.
Hell yeah.
Let's sell that bitch out because it is hands down one of the best Christmas movies. No, I'm personally the best Christmas movie ever.
Yeah.
This is one of the ones. There is a Jingle All the Way too, which should not be a thing.
Right.
I remember watching it, but it was like whatever. But this film it's perfect. Like, we're 2 years shy of it being the 30th anniversary. Sinbad, Arnold Schwarzenegger, these two. It's funny because there's small things about the movie that I really love too. Like Phil Hartman, who plays Ted, who's trying to poach on Arnold's wife.
Oh yeah,
he's hilarious in it too. I just love that dynamic between him. He's just trying to get in there, and then of course people forget the big show. It's the giant Santa.
Yep.
You know what I mean? There's so much. This movie is so much fun. And you're right, I agree. They just don't make these. This is the perfect kids movie, kids Christmas movie.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's so much fun. I love Jingle All the Way.
I remember it got so big at one point that they had to make actual Turbo Man toys for a little while because it was this movie is bigger than we thought it was gonna be.
It's so popping.
It's
so damn good. I love it. I literally. I want to go. I just want to stop. As soon as we get off the podcast, I just want to go watch it. That's all I want to do right now. I love that movie so much. But that's it. Next week's show is pre-recorded, but we're going to drop our big Wonka review. That's coming next week. Check out for embargo is Tuesday. So the social media embargo, I think it is Tuesday, where everybody can talk about the film. It's going to be very, 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 very exciting. I can't wait for that. People are going to rant and rave, I'm sure. But that being said, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode of the Popcorn People Podcast. We will be back next week. See you guys later.
Peace.